What type of pressure do you think Boise State is under to win the Fiesta Bowl, and why is that pressure there? What causes it? Is it the group of five stigma? Is Boise State playing for all those teams that hope to get there in that regard someday? Prater in the Ballgame, we welcome you. Hour number 3, our Dollar Loan Center video segment. Welcome our YouTube channel audience. And Prater, we're going to talk a lot about pressure. And I wonder if is it still warm out? Probably. Talking about all those traffic jams. Prater, it was a record-setting day today, wasn't it?
The hottest December 18th in Boise history. We reached 60 degrees, I believe, today.
Yeah, the hottest December 18th ever in this state.
The previous record was 1917.
1917. That's before Babe Ruth joined the Yankees. He was pitching for the Red Sox at that time. 208-424-9300. Prater fan pressure. We're going to get it from their angst to Boise State, Bronco Nation. How much pressure is Boise State under in this Fiesta Bowl? Jonah Dolmas talked all about pressure today in a conversation I had with him a little bit earlier, how the team handles it, how he handles it. And
that whole Jonah Dolmas thing was cool, and you're going to get to that because you did the interview headline today in The Athletic. Which college football playoff team can trust their kickers in the clutch? Pressure. Absolutely. Clutch is about pressure. They listed all 12 kickers, 12 down to number 1. The number 1 most trusted kicker in the college football playoffs, Jonah Dolmas.
That's Jonah Dolmas, yeah.
And you're going to ask him about that.
I love it. You'll hear Jonah coming up on this. All right, Prater, where do you want to start with this and the pressure that this program, this team, particular players, heck, coaches in this tournament? I mean, there's a ton of pressure in college football right now. Tons of it, man.
Or is there? I mean, I kind of wrestle with the word pressure. Okay. And that's why I like this segment. I like this an awful lot, especially when it comes to fandom. Fans have pressure all the time. Or is it anxiety? Those are two completely different things. As a fan, I don't know if I've ever felt pressure. But I feel anxiety at big, giant moments. My team hasn't been there for a while, so I don't understand that kind of pressure right now. Boise State is, as you just beautifully said, holding up the mantle for all the group of 5 guys, the little guys. That's everything from Ashton Jeanty to the Boise State football program to Spencer Danielson and first-year coaches on the cusp of doing something really, really crazy and something really, really wonderful. You have a lot of internal pressure. Every single day when you play football at Boise State, is it different when you're focused on the day-to-day task? I don't know. There's massive amounts of pressure on Boise State football right now, but I wonder how much of it's on the outside, and I wonder how much of it is impacting the guys on the inside.
Good one. Tom, you're first up, 208-424-9300, taking calls pretty much all half hour if you guys have them. Bring it. Pressure. Is there pressure on the Boise State program for this Fiesta Bowl?
Maybe a little internal anxiety, as Prater said. Maybe they're focusing on, like, we want to do well. We haven't been here in forever. But you know what? They're not in danger of losing their coach to another program. They're not expected to beat a Penn State. Maybe against SMU, the expectations might be a little higher. But it's a no-lose. You've already cashed $8 million to your conference. Win. If you lose to Penn State, you lost to a Big Ten program. Just like in the Fiesta Bowl, it's like no one expected them to beat Oklahoma. No one's going to expect them to beat Penn State if Penn State goes out. I know I'm maybe taking that for granted, but no pressure at all. If they even come close, make it a good game, it's a win for them. There's no pressure at all.
I love it. I love getting the ball rolling on that for Tom Prater. I don't know if I believe him. I don't know if other Bronco Nation members agree with him on that. 208-424-9300. Call JP. Have him put you on. We'd love to have, I guess, a second opinion on the pressure / anxiety fans have for this game. He makes great points. And I know Boise State fans saying, wait, whoa. What do you mean Penn State? Or as long as it's close, we'll still get respect for that. There is a huge element to the nation of college football fans outside of our little bubble here, Prater, that, yes, don't expect and won't expect Boise State to play with Penn State if that, in fact, is the matchup. So I think Tom makes some pretty good points.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good way of looking at it. It's kind of how I see it in terms of in terms of the pressure. And I know you used that phrase earlier, playing with house money, and I think there's some fairness to that. But if they win this game, they're 2 games away from playing for a national championship. And then if they win that semifinal game, holy cow, crazy things are happening. And now all of a sudden, just you have the weight of the world on you, just trying to complete and seal the deal. So I think the pressure is going to grow. I don't want to try to spoil this conversation because I think it's a fascinating conversation, but to jump ahead a little bit, I'm going to go ahead on a limb and say there's very little pressure for Boise State to win this football game in the traditional sense of pressure as we know it. The pressure for this Boise State football team is to try to win next year without Ashton Jeanty and Dirk Cutter. I think there's a massive amount of pressure on Spencer Danielson to hire the right coaches and to put together the right roster to succeed next year. Because if he doesn't succeed with Dirk Cutter and Ashton Jeanty gone, then he's going to face all kinds of outside pressure, and then it becomes very, very real.
It's so crazy, too, because people might be saying, oh, stop it, Prater.
Fair.
Sorry, but, I remember when LSU in 2018, they had that the greatest team we've ever seen, Joe Burrow and those guys.
Yep.
Ed Orgeron was fired 19 months later.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a job. Hasn't been hired since. And at the time, you think of that Ed Orgeron, he'll make his own next contract. He won a CFP in that fashion. He's on autopilot. He's bulletproof in the Bayou. No, he barely made it through the next season. So, yes, if Boise State is under pressure, Spencer Danielson under pressure. I mean, look at what they're building at that stadium in the north end zone for him. Look at the expectations that this team and Ashton Jeanty has set. Basically, everybody who ever signs up to play football again in the history of Boise State football in some relation will maybe feel some pressure that, Ashton Jeanty went and played here as that type of icon in this program. But yeah, if Spencer doesn't follow this thing up, and they're 7-5, 6-6 the next 2 years, dude, that's not going to be okay.
In order to have pressure, there has to be consequences. And losing in the Fiesta Bowl, I'm not sure any of those consequences. Sure, I get it, but maybe the pressure is kind of, let's tie the two together here now. In order for Spencer Danielson to give him the best shot to succeed next year, with this roster that's going to change, with this coaching staff that's going to change, is to capitalize on the momentum of a Fiesta Bowl. If he wins a Fiesta Bowl, think of the recruiting impact and how that's going to apply to next year's roster and next year's coaching staff. That ups the pressure, but it also creates opportunity for new players and new excitement and opening up avenues and stuff like that. So there's pressure to win so that you feed and keep the momentum going. If you lose, and let's say for whatever weird reason it gets ugly, let's say it gets really weird and really ugly, then the pressure to go out and recruit against that black scar, that black mark, is certainly a very, very intense pressure. There's definitely pressure for Boise State to play well. I don't think that there's any crazy consequences if Boise State doesn't lose, if Boise State plays well and still doesn't win this football game. So it does impact the momentum. It does impact next year. There is pressure to keep it going. When you're on a roll like this, the pressure is not to screw it up. You don't want to be the player, the unit, the coach, whoever screws it all up. That's a lot of pressure, and hopefully they turn that kind of pressure into nothing but anxiety, positive anxiety, anxiousness, and opportunity to go off and win a football game.
Yeah, I mean, where is it? Fans, Isaiah's, you're next up. We appreciate you giving us a call. Isaiah's, what you got?
Yeah, so I think the pressure that we do have is to continue to be that Cinderella team that we have been since 2006, and continue that legacy. It's only fitting that we're in the first playoff, that we have a chance to actually get to a national championship. The only thing we wanted for years is a shot to get there. Now we have it. 2 games, 3 games, however many games it takes to get there. For some of these teams, all they want is a shot. And this is what the pressure I think we have. This is what fans are expecting, a win. Fans are hoping for a win. And now we know that those players and those coaches are like, we have a legacy that is set before us by the previous team of a Cinderella that's going to go in and be the PCS Hudson team, be the one that takes the crown. when we weren't expected to. That's the pressure I think they have.
Damn, that's a
great one.
mic drop. Nice job, Isaiah. This was a hell of a call there. Good stuff in that regard. Sure, absolute pressure. How does Jonah Dolmas handle pressure? Let's hear from him. We come back. It's Prater on the Ball Game on Idaho Sports Talk. Another reminder, thank you, J&J Machinery. Have you been noticed in notice? Prater on the Ball Game, we're taken to the road. Fiesta Bowl shows December 30th and 31st. Yes, game day. We are doing an edition of Idaho Sports Talk with Bronco Game Night live from State Farm Stadium following the game. Thanks again, J&J Machinery.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.
All right, that